My friends and neighbors, my name is Greg Pickler of the MXB Wire, and these are my election 2025 predictions. I just happen to have my ballot that I received from the community, and apparently, from what I understand, there are 4 open 2-year term board positions available, and there is a 1-year balance left on a 2-year term that was abandoned by a former board member. I'm not sure about the background of that. It could be due to the death of Kerry Hall, good man. But everyone on this ballot is effectively going to be elected. The only real mystery here is who will wind up with the balance of the 1-year balance of the 2-year term. Now, looking down the list, the candidates are Margie Sear, no surprise there, Don Daraska, Steve Larson, Kate Montier, and Jim Silberman. Margie Sear is a lifer. She's an incumbent candidate. Don Daraska is a former board member. I think he took time off last year. Steve Larson is also a former board member, and he was elected to backfill, I believe, the balance of the 2-year term of Kerry Hall. He was elected by the board itself. He was voted in by the board itself. Kate Montier won in 2023. She won a seat at the board. Jim Silberman, he's from Laurel, Maryland. I don't know much about him. He's a first-time candidate. He will be on the board. One thing I do know about Jim Silberman is his name is not Joe Raskauskas. Had his name been Joe Raskauskas, there would have been not 5, there would have been a 6th name here. And that 6th name would have been the spouse of, or the child of someone that is trustworthy. And the people who wield power, someone the people who wield power feel comfortable working with. But that's not here, so I presume that the people who wield power know something about Jim Silberman and don't have a problem with him being on the board. So, my predictions. Looking at the list of 5, I will predict that Steve Larson will receive the most votes in this contest, followed by Margie Sear, followed by Kate Montier, followed by Don Daraska. I don't know Jim Silberman, as I said before. I think he will wind up with the balance of the 1-year term left by Kerry Hall. The reason I think Steve Larson will be the top vote getter is Steve is Margie Sear's handpicked successor. Margie Sear has access to board proxy ballots, and she will likely, if history is any lesson, someone on that board will overvote them to give Margie very good numbers. And Kate Montier had, in 2023, Kate Montier, I believe, had the highest approval figures. She wasn't an officer, but she got very good approval figures. People like Kate. So I think she'll come in third. Don Daraska, in the 2003 survey, Don Daraska had absence of negative approval. So he will easily win one of the 4 2-year terms. And Jim Silberman, they obviously don't object to him. He will be shoe fitted in for the balance of the 2-year term left by Kerry Hall. On the event that Steve Larson becomes community president, Marty Schechter will have a prominent role on that board. He's already a prominent role on the board, even though he's not a board member. But he and Larson are really a tandem together. They spearheaded the advent of the 8% rental tax, the unlawful 8% rental tax. And they're seeking ways of creating more streams of revenue. And one of the streams of revenue that they're considering, rather than a rental tax, is a rental fee. Schechter's been trying to raise the prospect of charging a $100 rental fee towards vacation rental property owners for quite a while now. To put this in perspective, the rental fees are charged by homeowner associations, but ones that provide rental services, specific rental services. And to put this in real terms, let me show you a example of that. Now, Sea Colony charges, it used to be a $50 rental fee. I think it's now a $75 rental fee. In exchange for the $75 rental fee, Sea Colony produces a laminated card for the tenant with the tenant's identification as well as the week the tenant's staying. And so there's an exchange, a service in exchange for money. Now, what Larson and Schechter have going is they want to collect the fee, but they don't appreciate they need to provide a service. They're going to collect the fee as a stream of revenue. And with that stream of revenue, they can lower their assessments. And they might start at $100 a rental fee. They might escalate up to $200 once they get that stream running. They figure that, well, they might figure, well, of the community of rental property owners, who's going to spend $10,000 in retainer to bring this to Chancery Court? Who's to say whether people will find this material or not? Once they're done there, the word is they're going to move to full-time residents. They're going to charge a fee to full-time residents and further create a revenue stream where they can lower their personal portion of what they owe to operate the community. And it's clearly in self-interest. To give you an example of that, they've been working the budget. They are the budget committee. They've been working the budget for the past few years, and they appropriated over $100,000 to excavating Bridge Road and Bayberry Road. They did it in the absence of an engineering plan, which you don't do. They just decided we're going to excavate the ditches and clean them up. But if you look at who lives on Bridge Road and Bayberry Road, Steve Larson is at 6 Bridge Road, and Marty Schechter his property's at 19 Bayberry Road. So in effect, they took care of themselves. They had the community spend over $100,000 to deal with their water drainage issues. Normally, if you were doing this drainage issues with the help of an engineering plan, you'd start at the bottom. You'd start at the lowest points and then work your way up. You wouldn't start at a high point, or Bridge is 2 streets away from Bayberry. Anyway, coincidence? I don't think so. This is how these people operate. It's all about self-interest.